Ag Tire Talks Driving Yield Through Tire Technology, sponsored by Michelin Agriculture. Don't forget to follow Ag Tire Talk on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X.
James Tushner with Ag Tire Talk here. I'm with David Graden, OE Global Account Manager for Michelin Agriculture. Thank you for being on Driving Yield Through Tire Technology.
James, thank you for having me.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the sprayer marketplace, sprayer tires, the evolution of it, what we're seeing out at the shows like Farm Progress. And we're going to start with a VF380 90R54. This is OE on a sprayer. We saw the AgriFac out there. So what's happening? You know, Michelin really began with the VF380 9046. It took the market by storm. That was about a decade ago. What's happened with sprayer tires, David?
Well, James, I tell you what's really dictating the sprayer tire market is the size of the machine. As you well
Okay.
know, machines they're getting huge. They're getting huge. They're getting taller. They're getting carrying larger and larger tanks on them for the liquids. Now, and the reason they need to get taller is because corn nowadays is 12, 14 feet
Good
tall.
point. It ain't grandpa's corn.
Yeah, so you have to get taller, right? And so
Cheers.
the tires need to be able to carry that load, and it's honestly, I would go so far as to say it may even be one of the cheaper ways to make a machine taller.
Right, right. You don't have to have all the unique hydraulics or what have you. All you
That's
got to do
right.
is put a larger overall diameter on that. So yeah, because you know the 380 9046 was a 73 overall diameter. We saw the evolution to 81 inch, and now we're at 84 inch on some of the stuff. So
That is very correct, and I don't think you've seen the end of it either, because not only are the tires getting taller and the overall diameter is getting taller, but the widths are getting a little narrower as well. But the air chamber, is what carries the weight. So the chamber has to be consistent or larger to carry even more weight. And so there's only a few ways to do that. And number one is to make it a bigger tire overall. It doesn't necessarily have to get wider, but the sidewall has to get taller.
yeah, and just a correction, it was 73 inch, 81 inch, and then it tops out at 86 inch right now with a 380 105 54. I agree. I continue to see the evolution to larger overall diameters and really to just elongate that footprint and also
Mhm.
to give it some height as well. So what we're talking about is that OE fitment, the 380 90R54. And just to recap on that particular tire, it does have a unique feature. It has cyclic field operation. Why don't you give a dissertation on that?
That is correct. So as you know, many may not. Michelin has stamped and tested these tires, all spray bib tires, with a cyclical field operation
Okay.
designation. That CFO is what you'll find on the sidewall. What that does essentially is it allows you to run a VF tire at multiple speeds and gives multiple air pressure recommendations. Before the CFO designation, to put it simply, you were limited to a 40-mile-an-hour
Yes,
speed,
that was
right?
it. They
And
didn't even
so
give you load
40
specs
miles
for
per
more than
hour,
that.
yeah, it was one line in the data book. Well, now you have multiple. So oftentimes you have producers won't even get on the road with some of their spraying equipment. So if you don't get on the road and you're going to run at roughly 15 miles per hour, 12 to 15 miles per hour, well, now you can set your air pressures
Right, perfect.
set specifically for that 12 to 15 miles per hour.
And it's way lower air pressures,
Absolutely.
like maybe
And what
30,
that
40% more.
Yes. And what that means is you can carry the weights necessary, but you've just elongated that footprint to improve. For a sprayer, it's highly important that you have a long footprint so that you've got flotation. It's not high torque, but you've got to be able to float through some of these soggy areas. And so that's exactly what the spray bib does.
Well, another unique feature, when you do have those lower speed tables, not everyone does, by the way, is that you can run a central tire inflation system on these sprayers. You can buy them aftermarket. PTG offers them, right?
That's
Michelin
right.
owned company. So, really, if you're going to do that central tire inflation system, you're going to want to make sure that you get those low speed tables on that VF tire, right? Otherwise, you're not maximizing what that tire can do. Am I correct on that,
That
David?
yeah, you're absolutely right. Not to mention, and let's think about this from a safety aspect, right? Because when you start talking about safety, people really start perking up. So from a safety perspective, you can run at field operating pressures, field operating speeds. With a push of a button, the operator of that machine can now push a button, increase the air pressures in a matter of minutes to get onto the road. And so the stability and the safety
It's
at
significantly
those
better.
speeds now is significantly better. That's correct.
Great point, because when you've got 1,600 gallons and it's that high up and that stuff starts sloshing around, right? When you're on the road, man, you want some inflation to keep that sidewall stiff, right? But
That's
when you
right.
get in that field, you want to let the air pressure down to where the lowest it can be with the carrying capacity that is required at the speed required, right, to get you the longest footprint. We are always an advocate of central tire inflation systems on Ag Tire Talk, so glad to bring that point up. All
Absolutely.
right, so let's see if I got it. So really what we're seeing in the sprayer marketplace is a continued evolution to larger overall diameters. We went from 73 to 81 to 86 inches. We're also seeing VF, we've seen VF for the last decade, but now what we're seeing is more prolific CFO offerings. And in Michelin, all the spray bibs have the cyclic field operation, so it can handle those live loads and you can get down to those air pressures required. And if you're really trying to get your yields up, put the PTG central tire inflation system on, and you will maximize that footprint by getting down to the air pressures that the lowest air pressures you possibly can in accordance with the speed and the weight carrying capacity. Any additions to that, my friend?
Nope, you've got it, James.
And that's a wrap.